Now that you've watched the design principles lecture, let's put that to work. What we are going to do is get into After Effects and create a 1080p composition, and in it you're going to create up to 10 or more black and white circles. And just using the position and scale, you are going to create a comp that will demonstrate three of the following principles of design: figure ground, balance symmetry, balance asymmetry, pattern, rhythm, repetition, harmony, unity, harmony, tension, fragmentation, exaggeration, active, perspective, depth, sharpness, diffusion, or framing. Here are some examples from past students. Here's an example of figure ground. Here's an example of balance symmetry, balance asymmetry, harmony, tension, active, and perspective depth. All right. So it's just single frames are what we're going for today. So when you get into After Effects, you can click on the Create a New Composition. Make sure that it says HDTV 1080p. And you'll make a new comp, and with that selected, I'm gonna hit return, and then you can put in your name, and then whatever the principle that you're showing, whichever design principle. Okay. So there are several ways that we can make circles. One way is, let's create a new comp, and instead of, we'll call it circle, we'll call it white circle 1. And I'm going to make it a square. So it'll be 1080p width, 1080p height. And we are going to put in a solid. And we are going to make that solid layer white. Okay. And so then with that selected, we will go up here to the mask tool, and we will hold it down until we get to the ellipse tool, and then we will double click it, and it will create a perfect circle within our square. And we will twirl down the mask properties, and one thing that we want to do is we want to shrink it a little bit, but not by using scale yet. We just kind of want to shrink it a little bit, so that if we want to feather the edges, we have that opportunity. By clicking this, I've made it the background black. It's still a alpha layer, but it'll give us a better sense of how far we can blur those outer edges should you choose to do that. Okay. I'm going to zero out our feather for right now, and I'm going to come back to our principle, and I'm going to take that white circle and I'm just going to drag it right into here, and now we can use position and scale to put it where we want, make it the shape that we want. Okay. Another way to soften the edges is we can get into the blur tools, and fast blur is probably the easiest. We'll just drag it right into the layer, and then I'll make it black again so that it's easier to see, and so just by playing with the blur tool we can also blur those edges. Okay, I'm going to blank that out. So now that we got white circle 1, one of the reasons why we named it that is when we go up here into the project panel, if you hit Command D, once it's highlighted, it will duplicate that circle and rename it. And so maybe we need 10 of these bad boys, and then we can just drag them into our comp. So I'm going to blink these out. If we want to make this a black circle, we will go back into the original source, to the layer. We will go Shift Command Y, hit the color tool, and make a black circle. And then when we come back to our comp, here's our comp. I'm going to hit return, and we can call that black circle 1. Another way to make a circle, just within this comp, is we will go layer, new solid, and we will make it a black layer. It doesn't matter what color for what we're doing here. And we will generate a circle here from the filters. And there's our circle. And let's call it black circle 2. And over here in the effects control, we can expand it. If you don't see the effects control, go to the window and make sure that that is checked by clicking on it. And so we can play with the size by playing with the radius. We can play with the feather as well. And oh, we need to make it black. So let's click on the color. And that's another way to make a black circle. And just by duplicating that, it will rename it and help you keep straight what all your circles are. And so now that you've got your circles, go ahead and create your compositions. And because it's just a single frame composition, when you're done, you will do composition, save frame as file PSD. I've named it properly, so I don't have to worry about that. And I'm going to send it to my folder, hit save and render, and then post that into the Dropbox. And remember, you need to demonstrate 3 principles. Good luck.